Backend engineering. This is one of those keywords that I get extreme number of times in my comment section. Backend engineering is one of the most, I would say, top in demand skills that if you're having, then you are going to have relatively slightly a bit less hard time in finding your next tech job. But the problem with the current set of scenario is that not a lot of people actually understand what it actually takes to become a good backend engineer. In this particular video, I'm going to talk about what are some of the key things that you should definitely know if you want to build up a career in backend engineering. This whole video I have divided into two parts. This is the part 1 where I'll be talking about some of the key pointers, and soon I will be releasing the part 2 as well. If you like this particular part, do let me know in the comment section and I will try to release the part 2 as soon as possible. So without any further ado, let's just start. But before starting the video, if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, please do consider subscribing to the channel. This is going to help us a lot in reaching out to more people as well. So let's just start. Now, the first and the most important skill that I believe a lot of people actually just avoid is computer networks and networking. Now, this is a subject that is generally taught to most of the computer science and IT people in BTech, BCA, MCA, these kind of courses. But most of the time, 99% of the students just like take it very lightly and just do a one-night fight before the exam and just like rote learn the concepts. Now, an important aspect here is that if you want to understand backend engineering well, if you want to make sure that you are able to contribute to scalable backends and understand what are going on, what are the things that are going on behind the scenes, why a specific choice has been taken for a particular stack, understanding of computer networks is going to be extremely important, right? Because at the end, when the client connects to a server, all of this magic happens through computer networks, right? So you need to technically know how computer networks work. Now, doesn't matter what kind of an application you are building, whether you are building a mailing app, whether you are building just like a normal web application, you are building a chat related like real-time application, any application that you build, all of these applications are dependent on some or other kind of protocols. And all of these protocols, let's say for example, for mailing, you have SMTP. For let's say for real-time communication, you have something like WebSockets, you have HTTP protocol for serving hypertext and all. So all of these protocols under the hood are dependent on one of these two protocols, that is either TCP or UDP. Now, all of these things are indeed taught in college, but a lot of people generally just avoid it. So I would highly recommend you guys to go through it, because understanding of how TCP works, how UDP works, how TCP is a reliable system, how UDP is unreliable, how TCP is stream based, how UDP is message based, all of these things are going to be extremely important once you start building more challenging applications. Apart from your normal CRUD apps, if you start building more challenging applications, for example, let's say if you try to build a video conferencing app, or if you try to make a kind of like a voice over internet protocol based app, all of these slightly more challenging projects, if you'll try to build, you will understand that there are different protocols that are actually powering them. Let's say if you want to make a live streaming server, then there is going to be RTMP protocol, right? If you want to do some different type of thing, there can be other type of protocols, and all of these different protocols internally are dependent on either TCP or UDP. So the core understanding of definitely the application layer and the transport layer of the networking stack is very important. If you can understand the remaining part, that is the data link layer, networking layer, physical layer, that's also great. But at least the application layer and the transport layer is very important, because this actually decides the nature of the application. If you want to build an application which is serving a specific aspect, then all of these protocols are very important. Apart from that, when you actually move on to some web frameworks, a lot of web frameworks out of the box even support these kind of protocols, right? For example, even if you see HTTP, there are different versions of HTTP which solves eventually different type of problems, right? Some frameworks out of the box are nowadays supporting HTTP 2 and HTTP 3, some are not. So this is going to be a factor in your decision making process as well. Now, apart from these traditional protocols, there are a lot of newer communication standards that are coming up. If you see your earlier set of application, most of the connection between client and servers were made using REST APIs or earlier SOAP APIs. But now there are new things that are coming up. For example, for connecting to services, you can even use RPC based systems like gRPC, or you have something like GraphQL as well that you can technically use. All of these communication standards have their own set of use cases. They solve one very specific problem. And there is a highly likely chance that when you are going to interact with any particular industry level project, when you are going to start working in your internship or as a full-time engineer, you will be having a project that will be using a lot of different communication standards for different use cases. But overall, all of these communication standards are internally built on top of these application layer and transport layer protocols only. For example, if you see gRPC, under the hood, gRPC is still using HTTP protocol only, right? So understanding of these communication protocols is very important, and this is going to be one of the core skills that you are going to need if you want to become a successful backend engineer. Now, the second most crucial skill that you definitely need to know is how you can build your own application servers. These application servers are going to be the processes that are going to be responsible for accepting a communication request from the client, processing that request and sending a relevant response back. Now, in order to build these application servers, there are a lot of technologies available based on different ecosystems. In Python, you have things like Fast API, Django, Flask. For Ruby, you have Sinatra, Ruby on Rails. In Node.js ecosystem, you have something like Sales.js, Express.js, Fastify, and whatnot. Now, depending on what your already existing expertise is, like for example, if you are somebody who is like very much enthusiastic about JavaScript, that means you know a lot of things about JavaScript, and going with a JavaScript based ecosystem definitely makes sense for you, right? If you are somebody who has been working with Java for quite some time, then the Java based ecosystem, which has frameworks like Spring Boot, right, makes a lot of sense. But apart from what you already know, a crucial understanding that you have to get is how the internal framework is actually working as well. There are different frameworks which works in single-threaded way. There are different other frameworks which works in multi-threaded way, and some of them gives you kind of like a facade that they are going to accept things in a single-threaded way, but behind the scenes they are able to actually do multi-threading as well. So this actually impacts performance a lot, and there can be specific use cases where you need a particular type of framework. Maybe you are trying to build a high IO kind of like application, or you are trying to build a high processing kind of like application. So depending on what application you are building, the choices of these application frameworks are going to change. But the problem that exists is that if you are going to use any existing application framework, then you are going to be stuck with the choices that they have actually made. A lot of time in a lot of companies, let's say for example in companies like Google, Amazon, they actually try to make their own custom frameworks which are very much, I would say, polished according to their own needs and according to their own use cases. And this can be a good exercise for you as well. Instead of just going on and trying, let's say, Express.js to make your next web server, how about you try to actually make a small library that can actually boot up a brand new application web server for you, and then try to customize the overall architecture. This is going to be a fantastic learning experience as well. And doing all of this is going to actually help you understand that how these application frameworks work, how these web servers, application servers work, what happens when a connection request comes, how it is able to handle concurrent requests. All of those things, if you will understand deeply, if you will understand the behind the scenes of it, this is going to take you very long in your backend engineering career. So these were the two important points that I definitely believe are very important for you to become a successful backend engineer. There are a couple of more pointers that I am going to discuss in the part 2 of this same particular video, because I don't want to stretch this video to make it too long, right? So if you have some thoughts, what you feel are some of the most important skills that are relevant for becoming a backend engineer, do let me know in the comment section below. And if you want the part 2 soon, let me know that as well. We will be trying to release the part 2 as soon as possible, depending on how much comments you guys are going to give. That being said, let's wrap this particular video here. We are going to meet soon in the next set of videos. Till then, take care. Bye-bye. I am Sanket Singh, signing off.